Like a lot of people who spend a significant amount of time online, I've always been looking for a way to make a little bit more money on the side. Over the years, I've dabbled with quite a few ways of doing this, and selling voiceover on Fiverr, unlike a lot of my other efforts, did actually make me money. I'll show you how much at the end of this video, but before I do that, I want to tell you a little bit about my experience. The best thing about voiceover is almost anyone can do it. Everyone's got a voice, haven't they? Well, I mean, not everyone's got a voice, but I doubt people without a voice are watching this video on how to sell Fiverr voiceover. So if you've got a voice, you can sell voiceover. Now, you're going to need some way of recording that voice. If you're watching this, you've probably got a phone, which has the ability to do just that. However, unless you've got a particularly unique or pleasing voice, you might struggle to find people who are willing to pay for voiceover recorded on your phone. So you might want to think about other ways of recording your voice. If you've got a headset that you use for gaming or work calls, for example, the mic on there should be more than good enough to get started. Alternatively, you could look at buying one specifically for this. There's tons of videos on YouTube about which mics are best, so I won't go into too much detail. But even an inexpensive lapel or USB mic would be a massive step up from just using your phone. And with a few sales, you should make your money back quite quickly. So what equipment did I use? See, I was lucky here and I already had a dedicated recording and podcasting mic, which I bought a while back when I was toying with the idea of getting into podcasting. And I still might do that, so stay tuned. Now, this might cost me £88 or about $115. But annoyingly for me, and luckily for you, I guess, it's actually about half that now on Amazon. I also got a pop filter and a mic mount when I purchased the mic. Now, the mic mount is in no way needed, so discount that completely. The pop filter, however, does help you if you're using a microphone like mine, and I'd suggest getting one because they're not expensive at all. You can get one on Amazon for about £5 or $6. Then finally, you just need a piece of software that will allow you to record audio. If you're using a phone, then it will most likely have a voice memo app, and if it doesn't, you'll be able to download one for free. If you're using a computer, then I'd recommend using Audacity. It's pretty widely regarded as the best free audio recording and editing software about. I happen to already have an Adobe subscription, so I used Adobe Audition, but that's because I'm comfortable using it. If I didn't have it already, there's no way that I'd pay for it just to do voiceover. So, I published my first gig on the 23rd of May, and for the first few weeks, nothing. Then, on June 18th, I got my first order for a whopping $5. It was a super easy job for a guy who simply wanted a handful of phrases recorded. Overall, I'd say it took me about 30 minutes. So $5 for 30 minutes on my first gig wasn't terrible. I thought this was going to kickstart my career as a voiceover artist. I drafted my resignation to my boss, but unfortunately, it was over a month before I got my next order. This time though, it was for more than double the words in the first gig, so it made it $10. And although this gig contained more than double the amount of words in the first gig, it still took me under an hour, so again, not terrible. At this point, I thought this would just be the way it was. An order every month or so for a few dollars. However, after a few days, I was contacted by a guy who was doing a larger project and needed voiceover for 5 videos he was doing. He asked me to jump on a Zoom call with him and explain the whole thing to me, so it was pretty professional. The voiceovers were longer than anything I'd done before, and he wanted the commercial rights, which should have cost him about £16 a video, but as he could guarantee me 5 scripts, we agreed on £10 per video. £50 sounded great to me, plus the guy had plans to make these videos a regular occurrence if the first ones were successful. So I did the videos for him, however these were a lot more work, and he almost always wanted something changed or to change the script after I recorded something, which I get, but there was lessons learned here, which I'll talk about at the end. So I made £50 off these videos, and whilst I was doing them, a guy that I'd already worked with placed another order for $5. Now, unfortunately, the series of videos didn't take off for the guy, so there was no further work with him. However, I thought a few orders and a few 5-star ratings would help me get more orders, but since then, I've had nothing. 2 months, no orders. I've had views on the gig and messages, but nothing's materialised. So all in all, I made $86 or £64. Or did I? Well, no, because Fiverr takes a 20% commission, so it actually ended up making only $68 or £50. So that's something to consider when you're selling cheap voiceover. If you're selling it for the minimum price, which is $5, or about £3.60, you're only going to get about $4 or £3 of that. So you've got to keep that in mind as to whether it's worth it for you. So if I was to start over again, there are a few things I would do differently. Firstly, and probably most importantly, I would download the Fiverr app on my phone. And that's because Fiverr places a lot of importance on you getting back to customers quickly when they message you. Which makes sense from their point of view because they want to ensure that the best experience for their customers. Makes complete sense. But I didn't download the app, so the only way I would find out about messages is if I opened Fiverr on my computer, which I was doing every other day maybe because it wasn't a real moneymaker for me. So I'm sure that hurt me in the algorithm, and it definitely, well, it did lose me customers where I'd go back to them and they say, look, I found someone else now. You took too long. So yeah, if I downloaded the Fiverr app, maybe I would have got more sales, and I definitely would have been helped out in the algorithm. So that's something that I should have done, and if I was going to do it again, would definitely do. The next thing I would have done would have been to be more clear or cutthroat, I guess, with the revisions that I allowed. So Fiverr obviously allows you to set how many revisions are included in a price. But especially for me, when I was working with that guy who had the repeat business, he was asking for, oh, can you just change this? Or on one occasion, oh, you know, the script was slightly wrong. Could you do it again? And I should have been maybe more strict and said, look, if you want it done again, you're going to have to pay again. But it's a balancing act, isn't it? When you're a small gig trying to sell voiceover, because there's so many people out there. I was worried basically that if I said that, he'd go, right, okay, you know, do one. I'm going to go somewhere else that is willing to do revisions endlessly until they get it right. But I think if you value your time and you value your worth, you should really not be doing that stuff for free. And that's what I was doing a lot of the time. A lot of the work I was doing was free because I'd already done the voiceover. I'd spent the half an hour doing it, and then I had to do it again. So it was wasted time. So definitely stick to your guns there. And yeah, I wish I'd done that. And then the third thing I would have done, I would have tried to upsell people commercial rights more often. Now, I don't know if you need to preface this by saying I don't really know the legalities of it, but I'm pretty sure most people needed commercial rights, especially the people I was dealing with were definitely going to use it for commercial gain. And if I'm right in how I've understood it, they need the commercial rights then. And a lot of the time I knew this, but I was just kind of worried about upselling them the commercial rights because in my head, someone else will do it for the same price without pushing that. So I'll just lose the business. But I think you should definitely try and push that to them. At least say, look, I think you should have them, and then kind of feel out how tight their budget is. I mean, if you set them at a reasonable price, you know, it's $4 or $5, £5, whatever it is. So it would definitely be a way of making more money because you're already spending the time doing it. It's just more money for the same thing. So yeah, would have definitely done that more often. So overall, I made around £50 for 6.5 to 7 hours work. Which if you do the maths is actually less than the minimum wage here in the UK. So in that respect, it wasn't the best endeavor. However, I didn't really go into it thinking that I was going to make absolute bank from the beginning because it's a very oversaturated market, voiceover on Fiverr. So many people are doing it, probably because the barriers to entry are quite low. So yeah, I didn't expect to go in and make tons of money at the beginning. But what I have managed to do, hopefully, is kind of lay a foundation to start eventually charging a bit more for my voiceover. And you're going to have to do the cheap work at the beginning. But once you've got a few good ratings and you've got a body of work under you, the goal is to obviously increase your prices and demand more money for your time. And I think I've managed to do that. So hopefully going forward, I can start charging more. Plus, when you think about it, Fiverr is actually a really, really good way to get started on online business and start making money straight away. Because if you think about another platform, like let's take YouTube, for example, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time, I think, to even monetize your channel and start making that AdSense revenue. So you got to put in a lot of work before you can even make anything. Whereas with Fiverr, you can start earning money straight away. And although it won't be the best money in the world, it's at least something for your time. Which ensures that you're not going to get like disheartened and stop doing it because you're putting all this effort in and you're not seeing any reward. Like you can get reward back straight away. Anyway, guys, I think that's about it. Hopefully you found it useful or at least entertaining to see my journey on Fiverr. Hopefully yours is better than mine. Hopefully you go on to make millions of sales. And then you can just give me my commission. That's fine. But yeah, I'm out of things to say on it. So hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.